My voice is audible, right? Yes, it and a chat box. If you have any audio is not proper. Let us wait another 5 minutes. Everyone back soon. Am I audible now? Let us wait for another 1 minute. Greetings to one and all. Myself Kishore, IoT engineer R&D team from Opinion Labs. This is the first episode of our entire webinar series planned on efficiency, energy efficiency. which will happen every Fridays at the same time, that is at 4:30 to 5:30. Presented by Minion Labs, along with its academic partner, Triple of Christ University. Today's webinar will be recorded and made available on YouTube, and also you can find it on Minion Labs website. And documented copies are available immediately on your mailbox as soon as this program ends. As its very first day, we shall walk through the fundamentals of electricity for about 40 to 45 minutes. Post that, let's have an interaction Q&A session. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. Coming to this webinar series, we'll try to understand why webinar on energy efficiency is for, and what is this webinar about, and much more topics. The only reason we started doing this webinar series is to spread awareness and importance on energy efficiency. We will feel very grateful even if in a few in crowd has learned these sessions and tried to implement the energy efficiency practices rightly and make some savings. That will be our success and everyone's so. Minion Labs is to be the world leader. Minion Labs vision is to be the world leader in the energy efficiency for cities, businesses, and consumers for the Internet of Things. Or in our artificial intelligence based products, systems, services enable our users to energy efficient, reduce carbon footprint, prevent climate change, and make people's life to be safer and comfortable, and businesses to be more productive, and cities to be more livable in a sustainable way. On the same, we are also signed an MOU with WWF India to reduce 9 million tons of carbon emission by 2029. It is not very big number though, but it can be easily achievable if the people are more conscious and more aware about the energy consumption and the methods to save the energy. But this is very absolutely required for every household, commercial, industrial buildings. The next stage would be the use of smart meters or any energy management solution to make energy savings real time, more efficient, and automate. We also partnered with IESA, that is in Energy Storage Association in India, EESL, Energy Efficiency Service Limited, and other ecosystem players to promote energy efficiency in India. Industry Institute Interaction Cell, IIIC, has been inspected by Christ University as a cell that would be one point of contact for the industry base to connect in all the forms, that is entrepreneurship, innovation, skill development, and etc. While providing technical knowledge, applied research, design thinking, and inspiring students to take part in industry-oriented projects. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Let's all join our hands for this moment. So in this webinar, we shall learn about the basics of energy. That is, what are all the forms of energy, history of electricity, science behind it, parameters that depends on electricity, and much more. Understanding types of electricity connections, bills, and tariffs, like how the bills are generated, how the utility pricing your bills, how to reduce your cost on bills, etc. Energy auditing process, how to be a self energy auditor. That means like how can you rectify your own problem of your electrical infrastructure of your own home, how to read the line diagram, and much more. General aspects of energy management, we'll see what are the aspects, what are all the factors that depends on energy management and how to get rid of it, how to save the energy in a more efficient way. Norms, codes, and standards of the electricity and its importance. Energy management with IoT, Internet of Things. So how the Internet of Things can impact the management of energy and applications of that. Energy efficiency in buildings and industries. So we know Industry 4.0 is a boom nowadays, and then we're gonna see how the Industry 4.0 acts to help in energy efficiency in terms of industries. So we'll see the process performance assessment, monitoring, and verification. We'll see how the process of this perform happens and how to monitor each and every appliances level and how where the energy can be reduced and where to verify the energy to be managed. Energy instrumentation and information analysis. So we'll see how these are all information collected together and how we'll try to analyze how these data might be helpful in the future. renewable sources of energy and its project. So we'll see we'll pick a real time case study and then we'll work on it how this particular industry has been more energy efficient compared to all other industries. So who should attend this webinar? You might be having this question, right? Everyone, literally everyone. Everyone should attend this webinar who are all to be known about the energy efficiency and be more awareness about the energy efficiency. But main focus on industrial leaders, policy makers, domain experts, entrepreneurs, NGOs, NPOs, consultants, students, universities, and academic. What will the participant learn or gain like by attending entire webinar series? So these are all the areas covered like when the like after the series completion. Internet of Things and Energy Analytics. How the Internet of Things and Energy Analytics used, what are all the factors and challenges in the market, how IoT in real time acts and its problems faced. Predictive maintenance means you're also able to predict the degradation of each individual device, when to maintain, when to give to service in a prayer before damaging the actual appliances. Industry 4.0. You know, Industry 4.0 is the current trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing technologies. It includes cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, and cloud computing. Industry 4.0 creates what has been called smart factory as well. Smart city and smart green building. A smart city is an urban area that uses different types of electronic components, electronic sensors to collect the data from each and every appliances or each and every devices which consumes electricity. Insights gained from that data are used to manage assets, resources, and in services efficiently. In return, the data is used to improve the operations over across the city. Smart green building. As the technology of smart buildings and smart grids meet, they will provide huge benefits in terms of more efficient energy use, integration of on-site energy demand, generation with the grid, and better functioning of buildings, and are the safer place to live and work. So climate change. Climate change includes both global warming driven by human emission of GHG and resulting large scale shifts in weather patterns as well. You will be able to know how to reduce this risk. Sustainable development goals. The sustainable development goals are the global goals of 17 interlinked goals designed to be blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. CSR and CSA. CSR is corporate social responsibility. CSA is corporate social advocacy. Corporate social responsibility, these two are both are similar but in a different strategies. That organization used to enhance their reputation and brand images by doing on investing the social causes. Next. Context. So these are all the topics which we are going to cover today. On very first day, we'll just look into very basic and fundamentals. I know some people might already be familiar with all these topics, but some might not. Though it is our very first webinar, let's keep it very common by starting from fundamentals. Who already have some knowledge about electricity are also recommended to attend this session, and beginners should be very focused because even data scientists and AI engineers need to know at least these basics to play with these data. So now it's an important thing to tell. So before before we start, I'm going to throw a competition, so take it seriously. The competition is all about take a snapshot of this webinar and post it on Twitter along with hashtag minion EEWS. I'm repeating hashtag small MINION EEWS. At the end of this series, one random will going to win a minion energy management solution and two lucky runner-ups will get free energy audits. So come on, share and spread the activities on social medias. Energy Efficiency Series Episode 1. As soon as everyone hear about energy efficiency, people get very conscious and triggered because it's very much needed these days. Conservation of anything which is limited is must. What is energy? Most of them have heard this one or the other time in their life. For example, in boxing, we hear you put all your energy to win this match, or you put all your energy to clear this exam, and so on. In layman words, I can simply tell energy is the ability to do work. So refer to previous example, we can tell. So I told you in boxing, we earlier put all your energy to win this match. Same right, put all your ability to win this match, to do this work. So let's talk about what is the different forms of energy around us, and then how they are impacted, and then where they came from. Renewable energy and non-renewable energy. These are the two forms of energy which they are around us. As renewable energy, as name says, it means finite, infinite. Something that can't run out, like solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, biomass energy. Non-renewable energy, which is limited. Some of the other times it will run out. That's called that is called non-renewable energy. For example, coal, natural gas, oil, nuclear energy. Moreover, there is a derived form of energy that is called electricity. Everyone in the planet Earth needs this now. This can be derived both from renewable and non-renewable energy forms. For example, electricity from solar is renewable energy form. Electricity from coal and petroleum is non-renewable energy form. So what is electricity? A big question to everyone. No one can see it, but it will play a very vital role in our day-to-day activities. Electricity is the flow of electric charges. Like I mentioned before, it is a secondary source of energy, which means we will get it in the other forms of energy like solar, wind. It's called as primary sources. The energy sources we use to make electricity can be renewable or non-renewable. But coming to the electricity itself, it's neither renewable or non-renewable. So electricity is a basic part of our nature, and it is the one of our mostly used form of energy. Many cities and towns were built along the side of waterfalls that turned water wheels to perform work. Before electricity generation began, over 100 years ago, houses were lit with kerosene lamps, food were cooled in ice boxes, and rooms were warmed by burning woods. So how the electricity evolved? From when did the human know about electricity? Back in 1752, over 3 centuries ago, it was a kind of stormy evening where one man in America wanted to fly a kite with the key tied to the string. The spark of the thunder came and hit the key. So this man proved static electricity and then lightning are one and the same. You people might be wondering why this man want to fly a kite instead of his kids or children to play around. But scientists do experiments a lot. He is one of the well-known great American scientist named Benjamin Franklin, the discoverer of electricity. Following this historic result, people were very eager to try use the power of electricity for their primary goals, that is lighting their home with the cheap and easiest way, instead of oil and gas lamps, which are more flammable and dangerous. So, the first current and the electric motor by Michael Faraday, nearly 80 years after, that is 1831, of the discovery electricity, the very first application of electricity came into the picture. That is an electric motor. So this man realized from his experiments that electric current could be produced by passing magnets through the copper wire. This is the one of the greatest discoveries that form bedrock of today's electricity and how we can generate electricity. Because of this principle, both the electricity motor, which electricity is converted into motion, and the generator, where motion can convert it back to the electricity, were born. So now people know how to generate the electricity as well. Till then, everything was fine and good. Suddenly, a very patient man who never gave up in his experiments, even though he failed more than 1,000 attempts, is one of the greatest inventor who ever lived, named Thomas Edison. Began working on electricity and brought to life in 1879 the world's first incandescent bulb, the yellow worm. Till today, it's being still used. You can see it, right? Hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. So, like we are talking about Thomas Alva Edison. So he invented a incandescent electric lamp bulb. Till today, it's still being used. As a result of his invention, the entire gas lighting industry was made obsolete. This is an example of how new innovation affects the existing technology. As a business side, Edison began to create his own company to manufacture and distribute the light bulb invention to every corner of America. Now, people of every nook and corner of the world got to know about the electricity could be generated and also transported. So, now after knowing it can be generated and transported, here comes the modern power grid. So it brought a new revolutionary in terms of electricity, which was the main reason for industrial revolution. Now electricity has been used the moment it was consumed as storage. It was very costly and very limited. So here is the man named Samuel Insull saw an opportunity in the early 1900s to bring together mass efficiency in production and consumption. So in consolidated all the small generators and choose to generate electricity in a bigger and more efficient way, manufactured by General Electric. As he began to grow his customer base, Samuel began to create a new electricity pricing plan to meet the growing demands of his customer. One such scheme was peak demand scheme, where customers required a lot of energy in short amount of time had to pay a fixed fee in addition to the typical usage charges. So there was a sudden shift to alternative and renewable energy. As decade continued to roll by, most of the electricity generation was done using fossil fuels from the coal to the fuel oil. However, with these traditional methods of electricity generation came an increasing in carbon footprint and the emission of GHG. The world began to focus on renewable energy such as wind power, hydropower and solar power, both of which were in use since early 1900s, but it was only in the early 1930s with the construction of over dam when hydropower really took a flight. And in 1950s, for wind power, once the first utility grid connected with turbine became a reality. So now coming to everyone's favorite and trending topic, that is Tesla Motors. As we move towards 2025, with a new breakthrough happening every year, electricity is being used in many few could have imagined. Take a Tesla for example. The company revolutionized the way we drive, inventing their car series with the boost long travel distances and smooth and quite safe ride, as well as electricity recharge options are also there. In addition, Tesla is also beginning to make electricity feasible and cost effective for average family home. With their Powerwall series, families can store electricity and power them the grid that can be used for the later versions. So to maintain the like demand of lights, the air conditioner running out, and the fridge cool. Despite its great importance in our daily lives, most of us rarely stop thinking what life would be like without electricity. Yet like air and water, we tend to take electricity for granted. Every day, we use electricity to do many jobs for us, from lighting and cooling for our homes to powering up our television and computers. Electricity is more controllable and convenient form of energy used in application of heat, light, and power. Electricity. Now, before knowing how to conserve the electricity, what are all the methodologies that we have to follow, protocols and policies behind it, we'll see in the coming session. So now, science behind electricity. Look around, you shall find that you are indeed surrounded by electrical appliances. Be it a television or air conditioner or ceiling fan, refrigerator, any electronic appliances. In summer, when the temperature rises, you just press a button, you will get a cool breeze. During winter, when you think twice before going under the shower to take the bath, warm water, again just a push of a button. In ancient time, one would have think that this was all magic, but it's not. It's due to something which is far from being magical, that is electricity. In order to understand how the electricity works, we have to now look into how the electric charge moves from one atom to another atom. We need to know something about atoms now. Everything in the universe is made up of atoms. Every star, every tree, every animal, even our human body is made up of atoms. And also air and water too. Atoms are building blocks of our universe. Atoms are so small, millions of atoms can fit on the head of the pin. Atoms are made up of even smaller particles. In this picture, you can see the center of atom is called nucleus, which is a combination of both neutrons and protons. The protons and neutrons are very small, but electrons are much smaller. You can see the electrons around the orbit here. Electrons spin around the nucleus in shells a great distance from the nucleus. If nucleus were the size of the tennis ball, you can imagine the atom would be the size of the Empire State Building. So most of the spaces in the atom is empty. Electrons are held in the shells by a electrical force. So these protons and electrons of an atom are attracted to each other. They both carry an electric charge. An electric charge is a force within a particle. Protons have a positive charge and electrons have negative charge. The positive charge of the proton is equal to the negative charge of the electron. Opposite charges always attract each other. When an atom is in a balance, it has an equal number of proton and electron. The neutrons carry no charge and their number can vary. Static electricity. Electricity has been moving in the world forever. From lightning lighting is also a form of electricity. It is electrons moving from one cloud to other or jumping from cloud to the ground. Have you ever felt shock when you touched an object after walking across the carpet? Yes. A stream of electrons jump to you from that object. This is called static electricity. And you can see much more examples like people have felt the air stand straight up by rubbing the balloon on it. If so, you can see you can know some electrons of the balloon to your hair. The electrons moved into the hair from the balloon. They try to get far away because like charges are repelled always. They pushed against each other. So that's how your air movement turns out. Everyone here sometime in our school days try to rub a plastic scale with our hair and try to touch with the try to touch the charge scale to the paper pieces, and the people try to attract towards the scale, and we declare saying it's a magic, but it's actually not. It's a science behind it. So now you people might having some basic thing about the electricity. For many people, it means something which flow through the wires. Although it is not incorrect, defining it like this is nothing short of calling King Kong and just another monkey. If I have to put it in a simple words, I would have say electricity is flow of electric current through a conductor. So what do you mean by conductor? So the materials which allow the electric current through them are called conductor. You must have seen a bunch of wires around your computer laying around your computer. It is those wires where the current flows. The wires covered up with the plastic insulated rubber, those are all called insulators, where if you touch, you won't feel the shock. Now let's see some basic parameters of electricity and what are all the dependencies of electricity. That is power, voltage, current, power factor, and volt ampere. Unit of electricity. To measure anything, we need units. To measure weight of something, we use kilogram. To measure distance, we use meter. To measure capacity of some container, we use liter. So likewise, to measure electricity, we use kilowatt hour, kWh, which in our everyday language, we simply call it as units. Electricity is measured in units of power called watts, named to honor James Watt, the inventor of steam engine. Uh, a watt is a unit of electric power equal to 1 ampere under pressure of 1 volt. 1 watt is small amount of power. So next time when your friend tells you that he consumed 200 units during this month, it would mean that he consumed 200 kWh of electricity during this month. So what is watt? Watt is a unit of power, like we already discussed. So what is power? Is it the power in terms of which we compare wrestlers? Although it's that not exactly same as electric power, it is very similar. Power is nothing but the rate of doing work. It is the amount of energy consumed in a unit time. So when we say a wrestler A is more powerful than wrestler B, it means that wrestler A can able to work more than wrestler B in the same amount of time. Therefore, the unit of electric power is joules per second. And this is what we call watt, in honor of James Watt, who attributed to the invention of steam engine back in 18th century. So a kilowatt means 1000 watts. Therefore, if you use 1 kilowatt electric power for 1 hour, it means you have used 1 kWh, that is 1 unit of electricity. You must have seen voltage. You must have seen sign of human skull above a cross mark saying danger 440 volts on electricity poles. So what is volt? This can be understanding from a very simple analogy. Most things around us have a tendency of flowing from higher side to the lower side. For example, when we talk to an expert in certain field, say a professor who has abundance of knowledge, then the knowledge flows from or her her or him to us. That's what we understand. That's how we understand things. Why? Because there is a difference between the level of knowledge between us and the professor. Thus, the knowledge flows. Similar in this case of voltage. Voltage is also called as electric potential. The potential difference between 2 points in space, say A and B, which have difference potential, if you move a electric charge between these 2 points, you shall have used another words like saying the work we like some the point the charge did some work to move a point A to point B. So the amount of work done to move an electric charge between these 2 points in a particular unit of time is called voltage. The electrical potential or voltage is expressed in volts. A device called voltmeter is also used to measure voltage. Now let us understand about electric current. In previous example of professor and student, we understood the knowledge flows from where the difference level of knowledge between two people are involved. The professor sound that flows between two concerned people is an analogous to electric current, which flows between 2 points at the different potential. Current is the flow of electric charge. The electric charge is usually carried out by moving electrons or ion in a wire. So when electric charge flow through a wire, we say that electric current is flowing through it. It is expressed as ampere. On every electric appliances, you shall find the amp rating. In this picture, you can see actual amp rating. It will be there for each and every appliances though. It is nothing but an electric current it conducts. For instance, let's assume a 15 amp power plug means that it conducts 15 ampere current through it. So now let's see the relation between voltage and current. That is V equals IR. This means the higher the value of the current, the higher the voltage between 2 points and vice versa. The voltage provided to a conductor is not completely converted to current as there are limitations. Every material offers some opposition to the passage of the flow of current. That is called resistance, which expressed in ohms. The above relation is called Ohm's law. That is V equals IR, and this is called triangle. If we see in the professor and student scenario again, resistance is something due to which the entire knowledge does not flow between two people. When a professor imparts knowledge to a student, it is highly unlikely that students will gain all 100% of the knowledge. No, the loss of the knowledge will be there. That's analogy is called resistance. Power factor and volt ampere. To understand power factor and volt ampere, let us first consider an example. When you order a coffee and you brought a cup of coffee topped with the bubbling froth. Although you only ordered for coffee, but you get a small extra layer of froth even without ordering it. Similar case in electricity. If you see watts equals power factor into volts into amperes, the same relation can be re-expressed as real power by total power equals power factor. Real power is expressed in terms of watts and total power or apparent power is expressed in VA. So real power which includes the power factors as well again. In case of huge motors or heat pumps, in addition to being converted to mechanical energy, also consumed in producing magnetic energy. So that's why in large appliances and all we'll tell electrical energy equals mechanical energy plus magnetic energy. When electric current passes through the motor due to magnetization of the motor, energy is wasted or used. In order to prevent the loss, capacitor banks are installed to store the extra energy which are lost. The ideal value of power factor is always 1, but appliances doesn't have so much high value of power factor. It usually falls under range of zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.9. So it is better advised that appliances should be high power factor to be used. So thank you everyone for joining and being here, very patient. I have tried to explain the concept of electricity in the easiest way that I can in very first session. I hope that this will help you to understand things when you go out and buy some appliances. So understanding of these concepts can greatly help you to be aware of electrical consumption. In the next session, that is on next Friday, 19th Feb, we'll in this at the same time we'll discuss and deep dive into some of the electricity concepts, much about AC, DC, and also some concepts of how electricity bills are generated. Thank you everyone. Now it's open for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can put it across in the chat box. You can unmute yourself and I think now you can able to unmute yourself and ask for the question. Ask questions if anything is there. We'll wait for another. Any questions? Can always will. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the same time Friday.